Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 19 of the Get Hitched live wedding chat show. Today, our special guest is Yorika Attard. She's a singer, songwriter, musician, very well known, and we actually work with her on Get Hitched with weddings, especially for her to do music during the ceremony of weddings in Malta and Gozo. I'm going to invite her in for you all.
Hi, Alberta.
Hi, Yorika. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. So first of all, I'd like to say thank you very much for joining in onto the show today.
Thank you for the invitation.
Cool. So as I introduced already for our viewers, we work with Yorika on Get Hitched, specifically for the music part in ceremonies. But before we actually go into everything, I'd like to ask you straight off to explain a bit who you are and where you started for our viewers.
Okay, so as you already introduced me, my name is Yorika Attard, and I'm a singer and musician. I play the piano. I write songs, and I'm a singing teacher as well. So basically, I live music 24/7. Well, music has always been a huge part of my life.
Okay.
Ever since I was a little girl, we used to listen to a lot of different music in the car. I mean, listening to Queen, Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne, Pink Floyd. So,
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm prepared for that.
You've been well prepared.
Music. So then at 6, we decided to get singing lessons, me and my sister. And shortly after, then I started piano lessons.
Okay.
And I took the route that many Maltese and European do, taking classical piano, and then doing classical piano exams and theory exams. But I remember music was always part of our lives, because even in our family outings, music was involved. So, for example,
Okay.
we used to go to karaoke's every weekend, and I would practice the song for the whole week, and then
How cool.
performance time, So with it, I would have like my little mini concert at the karaoke bar, and we used to go to a lot of concerts as well. So I don't know, international artists who came to Malta, like Roger Waters, Australian Pink Floyd. I was really young, but we used to go
Okay.
every
Because
concert.
your parents loved it, of course. Your family loved it.
Yeah, so it was kind of. I mean, my parents, they don't play music. Like, they don't play, not music. They don't
Like,
play instruments, I guess.
okay.
But music was always there. So
Okay.
even academically, like studying piano and singing, and also like socially in a way, because there was always music.
Yeah. And did they know from your young age that you'd be the star you are? I mean, you're. I
I don't
mean.
know about the star bit, but but when it comes, I think it was just natural in a way, because they loved music, and so we're born in this atmosphere and environment that kind of, music was going to be part of our life. So even if I did not play music, like play instrument or sing, I think music was still going to be part of my life in some way or another,
Okay.
just because of I think this really musical background, in the sense that who were kind of brainwashed with music.
It sounds like a very fun childhood that you had.
I'm not complaining.
Well done to your parents. And you also do the songwriting, and you also explained that you teach. Is this something that you started recently, or?
So I mean, professionally, so I consider myself, I teach music, I play, I perform, and I write. So they're kind of three things, but still obviously joined into one person. And I think, I've, like I said, I think I always knew that I was gonna do music, long time. I think after my studies abroad, that's when I really dived deep into music, and I really understood, what music means to me. And when it comes to performing, I have been gigging in Malta, I would say, for around, I don't know, around 8 years. And also I've been doing weddings and other events, corporate events, and for 6 years.
Okay.
And, like you said, I mainly do wedding masses and
Yes.
receptions. Masses, but receptions I also do in an
Okay.
artistic setting mainly.
Okay.
So I also get hired for events and corporate events. And when it comes to singing, teaching singing, I started teaching for the last 4 years. Like I said, ever since I went abroad and studied voice over there. In fact, I teach at a music school in Malta, and I also teach privately.
Cool.
And yeah, when it comes to songwriting, I have been writing for around 5 to 6 years. And again, I think the inspiration hit when I went abroad and I met so many new people and so many great people. And in fact, that's when this year I released my first official single as well.
Yes.
Out. So yes, whoever is listening in, if they want to tune in and on Spotify, YouTube, or whatever.
Very good.
Yeah.
We'll put the link for them after the show. We'll put the link for them in the comments box so they'll be able to all watch it as well.
Perfect. I
Yeah.
would love to hear feedback. Perfect.
Good. Definitely. Before I go to the next question, and I know I want to talk further about your studies, but with regards to the teaching, so you're doing it privately and you're doing it at the music school. Is
Yes.
there any particular like age group or is there any requirement for a person to start coming to learn and get your help with their vocal?
Okay. Well, obviously, I don't think there's a particular age. I mean, anyone can learn how to sing at any particular age. Obviously, if you start earlier, you have a head start, of course, because you learn a lot when you're young and you absorb a lot. And the voice is a muscle, so basically, if you get exposed to singing in the right way when you're young, kind of you get used to how to sing correctly. It's all muscle memory as such. It's like going for sports or like for athletics or something.
Okay.
It's in a way, it's very similar in that sense that if you start earlier, it's better because you get used to and you avoid bad habits earlier.
Amazing. Okay.
But as such, there's no age. When it comes to requirements, I think you just have to be musical in the sense that
Have a passion.
have a passion for it and be exposed to music from a very young age. I think that's very, very important because the stuff that you learn when you're young just by listening to music, I think it's very hard to get then if you, for example, start listening to music when you're 18, for example.
Yeah.
Which is highly improbable, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone listens to music when they're young, but yeah. So I think the earlier is better, but there's no age limit or whatever.
Cool. Okay, all right. Thank you for asking my question. Now I do want to get in about your studies because you've studied locally, but you've also studied abroad, and I can even tell there's a certain accent, like in your voice.
Well, because I've been around quite. So I've lived in LA mainly and in London and in Malta.
Okay.
So, so when I was 15, I went to Berklee College of Music for a summer semester over there. And I think that was when it really hit, kind of that I am really into music and singing. In fact, that's when I really started writing as well. I was one of, there was like a showcase and I was one of the winners for the singer-songwriter competition.
Cool.
So I realized, yes, I think that songwriting could also be a thing for me. And then at 18, I moved to LA to study voice over there at Musicians Institute in Hollywood. And I think that year made a huge impact on my musical career and my learning as such, because I was doing music 24/7 basically. I mean, school was right around the corner, so I used to go there every chance that I had, and I would go there, meet other musicians, play with other musicians, attend concerts, attend interviews with great artists. So you get inspired every second.
I mean, being 18 and being in LA, I'm sure has its perks and has its fun moments.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was a great culture shock, of course, because I think it was only my second time in America, and that's also a big, I mean, a big thing, just seeing the roads, which are like,
Yes, but I think it's very good to do at a young age,
yeah,
like explore and travel and get an understanding of different cultures and how people do
definitely,
certain things, especially when you're focusing on something in particular in your career. Malta might
definitely.
be doing it one way, America might be doing it a different way, France might be doing it a completely different way.
Definitely. It's really good so that you can also weigh your learning and
Yeah,
what needs to improve on, and kind of you compare your learning with others as well, and see kind of learn, like you said, like new techniques that they do in other countries.
exactly. And
Um,
is there anything in particular that came to make you to choose to go to LA and not somewhere else to get the studies that you've got now?
so I think, well, the main thing was the look. I mean, the school was great, but obviously, and they had great teachers. But I think the location of the school was uh, very amazing, was spot on, because I mean, we used to have guest lecturers who they tour, and they
Okay,
stop by the school to and
cool.
the master class over there. So the school had many connections when it comes to touring artists. So I think I learned a lot apart from my lessons. I learned a lot from the master classes,
Amazing.
which was not even for voice sometimes, was even for other instruments, drummers and guitarists. But you really, really get a taste of what like music in LA is. So I
Yeah,
think that's why I chose that particular school.
cool.
The amazing teachers and the location is amazing.
Amazing. I actually didn't know this about you,
Yeah,
that you went to study in LA. And I do have another question for you. Sorry, I like to put in a lot of different
yeah,
questions.
no worries. Far away.
Is there any particular artist while on tour or any particular masterclass that did really affect you and change the way that you went forward with singing, songwriting?
Yeah, I think it was the masterclass that Steve. We had there were many, obviously, but the one that Steve Vai gave at the school, it was incredible because I mean, in fact, he did not even play, so it wasn't that he's a great guitarist, but it wasn't his playing that really inspired me. It was just his way of talking about life as such, because uh,
Okay.
music, and he was such an inspirational artist. And even the interview I attended with Herbie Hancock,
Okay.
he gave an interview for students, and again where he talked about his book, and in fact, like, out of, I don't know, the interview was an hour, it was only like half an hour, him talking about music. It was just him talking about his life and his life philosophies. And I think that's what really kind of really affected me in a way.
For
um,
sure. I think that's really good, though. I mean, yes, we can learn off the book and learn how to sing and do the songwriting and in anything, not just in singing,
mhm.
in IT, in marketing, whatever it is. But actually being told, listen, this is how your life is going to be, and like this is what I did to control this and that, and
Yeah,
actually have a life and not just a career and all that, I
yeah.
think
Yes, and in
makes
fact,
all the difference.
with music, it's very hard to kind of cut a line between life and music, because it's such. Because with other jobs, I feel like sometimes you can draw a line. You
Yeah.
say, when you say this is work and this is
Yeah.
personal. When it comes to music, I think because it's something such close to your heart and something that's your passion, it's very hard to divide a line. And in fact, that's what I think Herbie Hancock said in the interview. He said, like, no, music is not my life. Kind of, I have other things to do. It's like, it's not just music, but and it's really hard for musicians sometimes to see life outside music too. Musicians
Yes.
or any artists as such. I think like art in general, like I said, it's very close to personal.
Yeah.
So
And like you just need to cut a line and make sure, because like of course if you're going to do certain events, they're going to hit in the weekends for you, they're going to be hitting in the evening.
yeah,
It's very similar, like sort of like having a caterer, a chef, his weekends, his feasts, there's no life sort of. So cutting that line out and actually getting told to get things like put your feet on the ground at age 18, I think is something really good to have.
Yes. So, but yes, in the sense, that's why it has to be a real passion, because like you're saying, like lots of weddings and lots of events are held during the weekend, and
Yeah.
if it's something that you love to do, kind of, you don't mind it. Of course, you actually enjoy doing it, and you don't mind, I don't know, missing outings with your friends on the weekends,
Yeah. Yeah.
just for this. So
And this
yeah,
is something that, sorry.
I think.
Cool. Cool. Sorry, I lost you there for a second.
Oh, okay.
Um, I do want to go into the next point. Since we're talking about like weddings and different events, and you've already started introducing yourself briefly for our viewers with this, but maybe you want to focus a bit now, like the experience, because I know you've performed in Malta and also abroad. And so
Yes.
maybe you want to tell us like even all the different work you've done abroad, especially for viewers, even people that are looking to book you for certain events. So it would be really great for them to know.
Yes, for sure. So I performed in Malta, in LA when I lived in LA, and in London as well, because I spent some time there studying for my master's in singing. So those are the three places that I mainly gigged and performed at. So in Malta, I perform mainly as a solo act, or usually they
Okay.
call it as a solo act, because I'm a pianist and a singer, so I accompany myself. But I also perform as a duo with a guitarist, and as a trio as well, with percussion, and also in a band. So I usually I've had experience as a guest singer as well. So
Okay.
performing with like an established band, and they hire a female singer because they would like a female voice in their wedding. Um, so it's also something I do, because I've worked with so many different bands. In a way, I can be a session singer, in the sense,
Okay.
just for the night, for example, and also backing vocalist. Uh,
Okay.
how I performed in Malta mainly. Um, in LA, I mainly performed with my band, because I had a band over there, and I performed mainly my stuff, my original material. And I also did my solo act as well. Um, and in London, again, so a combination of everything. So I did the solo act, me and the piano. I was part of a band, because as part of the masters, I had to organize recitals and events. Um, so that, and in fact, in one of the recital, I also had a string quartet with me. So I sang with a string quartet,
Wow. Okay.
and I arranged music for the string quartet, which was very, very interesting and very rewarding.
For sure.
Yeah. And in London, I was also part of a wedding band, which was
Okay.
specifically for weddings and for functions. And in fact, we recorded a lot of demos over there,
Cool.
as
Cool.
well. So and basically, for example, in London, I performed in bars, and restaurants, and
Okay.
some events. In LA, I mainly performed in bars. So in fact, I performed at the Whiskey A Go Go, which is a very prestigious venue in LA. I was so happy to get that gig, and Hard Rock Hollywood as well, both as a band as well. In
Okay.
So I'm very versatile when it comes to setup, because I like performing with different musicians. And so, for example, when it comes to events, if someone says, "Well, I want a trio," for example, I would be more than happy to set up a trio.
Cool. And this is something you can set up for them, be it if they want a band or maybe they want a mix up or
Yeah.
like I don't know if they've ever asked you, but perhaps even having you starting as a solo and then transitioning into, for example, a duo or into a band as the event goes along. Because of course, I mean, playing on your own for X amount of hours
Yes.
has its toll on you then as well.
Yes, in fact, like I've had weddings, like I said, where I start the solo act before, so I do 2 hours or 3 hours, depending on how long the wedding is, and then, for example, another band comes in.
Cool.
or for example, they would say yes. So the first 2 hours with just you on the piano, and then the rest of the wedding with the band or with trio.
Cool.
Um, in fact, I've also done weddings with different musicians, like violinist or in events, violinist and cello player. So in the sense, like the options are limitless.
Cool.
Um, with because I said, I like performing with other musicians, with a lot of musicians. So I kind of I have lots of musician friends in Malta, and
You can sort it all out for them, and you have the experience basically to be versatile enough to connect between one musician and the other. And even just working X amount of years and doing all the work you've done, you've built a certain relationship with different people. So getting something together for a particular event or a particular wedding will be easier.
yes, because like I mean, every wedding is different and every couple is different, and I just try to be as accommodating, obviously, with them
Very good.
as much as I can.
Yes, exactly. If you don't mind me asking, is there any particular difference when you perform locally or abroad?
Um, Yes, I think there is. And I think that the main difference is that I feel that abroad, there's a certain appreciation to
Okay.
music in general. I'm not saying that the Maltese people don't appreciate, but I think the audiences abroad, they show it more, kind of. Um, they tell you that you're doing a great job, and also I think um, audiences abroad, they they really like original stuff.
Yeah.
For example, even in London and in LA, I think I used to perform my original stuff more during my events as well, because there was like a hunger for it. Like they want to get to know you even more. And I think in Malta, there's a like greater demand for covers and like already released songs and familiar songs.
Commercial things, perhaps things that they're listening on the radio. Like there's always a certain set of songs that you seem to listen to in different weddings.
Exactly, exactly. I think that's the main difference.
Cool.
Like performing in both, of course, but I think that's the like striking difference
Cool.
between Malta and abroad.
All right, okay. Now you started explaining a bit, like you're very versatile, but how extensive is your music library and your song list? Like, what genres can you cover absolutely anything a person is looking for?
Okay, no, no, and I mean my voice is still.
Everyone's country music. Sorry.
Well, I mean, my voice is still the way it is in a way. So, of course, for example, I cannot sing metal, or I, 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 I don't know. I think I would say that my voice is very soulful um, and kind of pop-ish, but still, I mean, still very soulful and
Okay.
bluesy in a way. So,
Yeah.
I
Cool.
mean, I tend to every song I sing, I tend to obviously give it that sound because my voice is made that way. So, but in my set list, I mean, first of all, I, first I see what kind of event I'm being hired for. So, for example, if it's a wedding, is it a function? Is
Is it
it
like a staff party? Is it a gala dinner? That type of thing.
exactly? So, I mean, I think that's what really determines the set list in the sense. And then I talk with the organizer or the couples if it's a wedding, and see kind of which. I show them my sample set list,
Yeah.
and if they see, for example, that there are songs that they absolutely don't like or they absolutely want in their weddings, I'll see if I can work it out, and we can perform it at the wedding, for example, the first dance or something. Or even when it comes to the wedding mass, of course, I show the sample set list,
Yeah.
and see, for example, what song they want at the end of the.
And like even I'm sure like your sample list has these certain common trends that people like you at the end of the day you have to adapt. So if there's certain music that there's a tendency that people want in weddings, I'm sure you've practiced and added it to
Yes,
these sample lists.
exactly. So for example, of course, there would be like, I mean, I like classic songs as well. The like, I don't know, Eric Clapton, Beatles, The Withers. So there would be those, and even contemporary ones like songs from Sia, Celeste, and again, of course, I would talk with the organizer to see perhaps if they have one absolute favorite of the whole group.
Yeah.
They would like it to be performed, and I would try my best to give it a try as well. So yes, when it comes to the set list, I try to cover a lot of like pop, kind of within the pop, rock, and kind of R&B kind of soul genre. But of course, so I'm flexible in the sense if there's a country song that is very well known, like I don't know, Jolene or something, and that they
Yeah. It's a typical as well in Malta. I mean, come on.
yeah,
Jolly.
I love.
I am not going to sing on the show. I'm sorry. I don't want to scare everyone away.
So,
But yes.
yeah. So that's
And
kind of the gist of
yeah,
the section.
you have to adapt at the end of the day. And like with you're like people do like to book you for a lot of different events and things. So you're always learning from this wedding and from the next wedding and from that event. There's always, I think, something new from a different person, organizer type of event, right? That you're going to continue building yourself and building your experience and growing.
Exactly.
I do have an interesting question for you with regards to your own songs.
Okay.
Do you perform them for weddings and events?
So, I mean, it has to be a discussion with, again, the couples. And so, I mean, if it's an event at a bar or at a restaurant, I tend to perform my originals. If the setting feels right, of course, because if like the songs have to go with the mood that's the restaurant or that you are trying to set. So for me, kind of it has to fit within.
And this is your own song, so you need to be even more comfortable that it's the right vibe that you're going to be singing it in, sort of.
Exactly. So, like for example, I'm having like I have gigs at restaurants that usually or bars that usually you like the main idea is that you be background music or something, but they always end up really listening in and really interacting with me, and that's when I feel that kind of they want more. They want to know me a bit more. So I ask if they would like an original song, and I mean, most cases they say yes. So in that sense, yes. In weddings, I mean, I don't usually tend to perform my own songs, but I've had, for example, a couple who've seen me at one of these gigs, and they said, "Wow, I love that song. Can you please perform it?"
Okay. All
So
right.
kind of it depends, of course.
Yeah.
But usually no. But in weddings, but events, yes, why not?
And with your songwriting, I have another interesting question. But with your songwriting, have you ever been requested to write something in particular for particular events, perhaps, or a wedding?
Actually,
Maybe
I've worked
someone's first dance.
no, someone's first dance. No, not yet.
Hint, hint for everyone watching.
But for a particular yes, because I've worked with another songwriter on a song that was featured in a Valletta 18 commercial.
Okay.
So I mean, but yes, usually there's my voice involved. So I don't. I actually no. I've just remembered. I've written songs for someone else in a class in London and in LA, but usually I tend to write for myself.
Cool. Okay. All right. Because I think that would be super interesting, like having somebody's first dance, and it's not just a normal song, but something original written out, that really touches that moment or the two particular people, that are getting married. I've never seen it. I think it would be super cool, and it would be something different from other weddings. Because
for sure.
I mean, there's also always a certain tendency in weddings and what, have the ceremony, or you have like a civil or a mass wedding that we're going to drive down, we're going to go to the reception. There's always this pattern. So even right now, even though we're going through a chaotic situation, I try to look in the positives. For example, adapting the Maltese culture into having these sit down weddings and this different atmosphere. It's still beautiful.
Yes, of course, of course. Like you said, in a way, abroad they're done. For example, in London, there were sit down weddings.
Yeah, they're super popular everywhere, even in Gozo.
Yes. So in a way, yes. What like my advice to the couples now would be like, yes, try and find other ways, kind of, to make it interesting, like hiring someone to
And
like.
you're making something different. You're not always the same as the last wedding that was, even the atmosphere, everything. The changes are what actually makes the memory so special then after.
Exactly. So, I mean, for example, yes, nowadays, even obviously us, we have to adapt to musicians, of course. I mean, my set is already acoustic based and
Yeah.
laid back. So, but other musicians, of course, if they have a sit down and there's no dance, because I believe the dance floor, of course, cannot be
The
open.
dance floor is not open for guests. However, I believe the couple can
Yeah.
still do their first dance. Now, I've heard mixed conversations about this, so I don't want anyone to go on exactly what I'm saying that's watching the show.
Yeah.
Ask people that are actually issuing the regulations, not
Yeah.
me.
But,
um, but I've seen even, and I've heard where, for example, they're doing the sit down, but then they're still setting up bistro tables so people can still get up a bit, You're
exactly.
just standing at the same table, I mean, if you go to like this, I mean, no one's going to shoot you, sort of your mask is on, be safe, take care of everyone. And we have a good time. We have life going on because a wedding is a life event.
Hmm.
There are people that are waiting to have children, build their families, move in together, start growing and exploring and continuing like our parents and grandparents
Yes,
did.
of course. So adapting is in a way, like like musicians as always, like we are also adapting in the sense.
Yes, and I think you guys have been extremely hard hit. I don't
Yes.
think it's something that has been mentioned much, but anyone in an artist industry, so musicians are
Yes.
included. I don't know if you mind me asking, but how has it been for you?
Well, I mean, like you said, it's been difficult in the sense with events canceling and people who are hiring us who themselves don't know if their event is gonna be cancelled because of the new regulations that are obviously getting employed in the
Yeah.
sense that, so the instability in the sense is hindering people from moving forward or from taking big decisions or from organizing events.
It creates anxiety at the end of the day. Like this morning, I read an article that they're asking to impose even more further restrictions and sort of to contain. Sorry, to contain everything that is happening. But we had restrictions set up, just a week or two ago. And before that, I mean, just a few months ago, we were not locked down, but it was recommended that you stay away from people.
Yes, like it's been such an interesting year this year.
Yes,
Like,
to say the least.
so, but yes, it's. I mean, our sector unfortunately has been hit the worst. I think
Yeah.
because um, of the instability, people are not really particularly organizing events, um, and we're seen as extras in a way, Um, so
Yeah. And how
I
has
don't
it been with
think
weddings and brides? Do you still have some couples that are going ahead with their weddings? With any bookings that you had? Like I know the last few ones everyone's had to postpone, but I know that with all the different wedding planners I was talking with, from September, they had stopped everything up to August, sort of, to have everything rolling again in September. I don't know how it's been for you.
well, I mean, I think some of them have um, minimized the or
Yes.
yes. So instead of
Um,
a lot of guests,
Downsized. That's the word.
downsized. Yes, that's the word. Downsized. But like you said, I think from September, I think they're still on most of them, but yeah, they just have to.
I've heard stories where people have given up. I heard a story that a bride went from getting married, I don't know, in a month's time or anything. She got so fed up that she literally got married in 3 or 4 days, just downsized everything,
Yeah,
made it still special, still beautiful. Of course, I mean, we're not talking about, putting a white piece of cloth, and or simple something. She still planned everything and prepared everything, just
of course.
made it adaptive to what is happening right now. And I think those are some of the best weddings you can have right now, because
Yeah,
they're so intimate. I mean, having just a few people, your closest friends.
definitely. Yes, yes. And I think right now it's just, in a way, it's kind of useless postponing and postponing, I think.
Exactly,
We don't know
exactly.
what's going to happen in 2021.
Exactly. Like to any bride to be or groom to be. I mean, if you're getting through this right now, you are really soulmates. That is number one, because you are going through hell right now, like
Yeah,
moving and this and that and
no,
back and
exactly.
forth.
Exactly.
This was the whole plan. Everyone just wanted to put a test on you. I'm joking, sorry. But it's it's tiring. I mean, I've heard of couples moving their weddings 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, and even for the supply, it's not just for the couples. But for example, like I'm
Yes.
actually not sure, but is this something full time that you're pursuing with being a musician in events and weddings and so, correct?
So, I mean, music is my full time, so I teach as
Yes.
well. So,
Good.
yeah.
So of course, I mean, financially, you had a certain plan for the year. This is as if me sort of perhaps losing my job. It's
Yeah.
the similar thing. You're always being shot back. Your taxes still have to be paid. Rent still has to be paid. Loans, so on and so forth. So it has been difficult on everyone, not
Yes.
just the couples
Yeah. Yes.
that are getting married.
Yes, for everyone. And us as a supplier, kind of, you want to accommodate the couple as much as you
Yeah.
can, because you know kind of what they're going through. But yes,
Like inside what you're going through as well.
yes. So basically, everyone is on the same boat.
Exactly. I'm going to go into the last two questions for you. I know we've been talking now the past and everything, but everyone has a future. And I want to know if you have any particular plans or projects that you're working on once we get out of COVID.
So basically, I really want to release my NFT with the songs. So I already
Okay.
released one song this year, earlier on in March, and so that's the plan, to release an EP. Um, because I really want people to really capture and my true voice in a way, and
Yeah.
really get to know me as an artist. I also plan to continue teaching voice, because I mean, when I studied my masters in London as well, I really, really fell in love with how the voice works, and everything. So I really would like to share this information with new students and get to know new voices, and with and study new voices. It's been a passion of mine. Really
Cool.
understand voices.
Cool.
And now
I
ever since we moved to online, sorry, ever
No,
since
no, go on.
online teaching, so now I'm reaching kind of other
Yeah.
voices, foreign voices too, which is amazing.
Okay. All right. Is it a challenge to teach online, or is it
Yeah, well, it is in a way, because if the student is new, especially if the student is new, it's a bit difficult to build a relationship just online, in the sense. I've had students who we started off in person and now transitioned into online lessons. That was an easier kind of task, because I knew their voices already. I knew how they sounded like before. With new students, it's a bit of a bigger challenge, because I am solely listening to their voices online. So, and I don't know how they sound. So that depends a lot on their kind of audio quality, on their microphone settings, and
yeah, even
so
just type of equipment that they have set up?
yes. So that's the challenge. But at the same time, I think we've we've gotten used to so much online, everything online, social media, our life, our lives are online mainly.
Yeah.
So I think it wasn't too much of a task, in a way. I felt that it was a good it was a okay transition, in a sense.
We've had to adapt, and I think it's very good that you've actually managed to continue going on, and not just sit back and wait for everything to change, but actually taking it in your hands and going ahead, and exploring different routes to still do what you love at the end of the day.
Yes, yes, and even for the students, in the sense, because if they if I mean, like I said, the voice is like a muscle. So imagine
Yeah,
not practicing for I don't know 3 4 months, then your voice will. I mean, you will forget certain things that you have picked
definitely.
up. So it's very important to continue, even if it is online. Which it's very important to continue the lessons and progress, kind of, because otherwise you kind of set back and
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
so that's the
Um,
current plan basically, and obviously to continue doing weddings and events and connecting with people and and meeting new people. So,
Great. Do you have a release date for
so my
yours?
not yet,
No?
but no, but hopefully before the end of this year for sure.
Amazing. Yes. Okay, good. We
So
need to know straight away. We'll be able to, share it for you. I want to hear it out as well. So I'll listen to your first one.
perfect. Yes, we'll share the link like you said.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. We'll share the link. Our
Yeah.
last topic on the agenda for the day was just to see if you have any particular suggestions for our audience and your customers, especially in weddings with everyone being so worried and anxious and everything at the moment.
Okay, so I mean, the first off, like the couples, like I really suggest that you don't lose sight of why you're getting married in the first place, because all the organization, first of all, takes a lot out of your life, and now with this added COVID situation, I mean, it brings even more stress. So,
Yeah.
so first of all, just obviously don't lose sight of kind of why you're getting married, and my suggestion would be that I mean, music is very important in a wedding. So to really think before they hire someone, to see kind of what mood and what kind of wedding they want to set. Um, and my advice would be just talk with musicians. Like I said, for example, if the bride's or groom's dream would be to have like an additional violinist, just ask just ask if it can be done, because most times I can like we can work something out,
Definitely.
and also something which what they're like what is being done nowadays as well, like think about the length of your wedding. So if it's not if for those who are having longer weddings, it might be a good idea, for example, to hire two bands or two acts rather. So you have one more for an acoustic in the beginning. I've had weddings where it was like that. So
Yes.
I played piano and sang for the first 2 3 hours of the wedding, and then a band came in. And because you have to think about the musicians as well. So because if it's a long wedding, some
It's tiring at the end of the day. And
tiring
so that
for the musicians.
100% performance, they can't really give it for 4 whole hours. I mean,
Exactly. So, for example, if you have like five, I don't know, sometimes 6 hour weddings, to have one single band performing all throughout that time period, it's very tiring for the musician. And then in return, kind of you won't get obviously the best quality that that musician could give.
yeah,
Because it's not humanly possible in a sense to give your utmost, your all, kind of for six
exactly.
full hours. So then I don't know, there will be more breaks or something, deservingly, of course.
Oh, yes.
Um, but so that's why I would say to the couples, think ahead of the length of your wedding. So if it's a bit of a longer wedding, I would suggest that you hire like two separate acts, in the sense, so that you'll get, and even in the sense the guests would have something different to listen to.
Yes, in fact,
It's more
that's what I was gonna say. One of the my favorite weddings that I've ever been to, is one particular wedding that they control the atmosphere. First, they had a solo artist with a piano. Then the solo artist picked it up. I think they had a person join in with him, so they picked it up a little. Then it transitioned into having a band that were full on, like we were all jumping, and literally all jumping, laughing, dancing and everything. And then it transitioned into a DJ, so all the old, the elder people like sort of said, okay, congrats, good night. Now, you've got the cake and everything. And then they transitioned. And the atmosphere was really controlled well, especially with having a planner, moving everything around, making sure the guests, everything's happening, even just for the bride and groom. I mean, at the end of the day, having someone there helping you out, giving you a glass of water or a glass of champagne,
Yeah.
is fantastic, you know, like
Yes.
not just shaking your hand, hi, thank you for coming, hi, thank you for
Yes.
and I want to add to your suggestions. I think they're really excellent for people, but I would add that we've adapted. Everyone has been doing online meetings. Kids have been learning online. People don't hesitate to ask for an online meeting to get an introduction with the person. You know, if you're may perhaps feeling uncomfortable, even just drive time, you're saving so much drive time by having just 2 3 online meetings with
Exactly.
different people, getting a different understanding, then be able to build it, and then perhaps meet second time again with
Exactly.
the ones that you've really liked. We have internet. I mean, you know, that you can send, like you said, recordings, videos.
Mhm.
Everyone has videos of performances, even in events, so you can even see the atmosphere that the particular artist builds.
Yeah.
But I think this online meetings thing is very good and should be used. In fact, we are looking to launching it permanently into Get Hitched for people using it, where they'd actually be able to click a button and request to have a meet. Like you would have accepted their request because you're available on their date,
Mhm.
and they'll be able to click a button, book an online meeting with Yorika, and you'll get an email sort of like, you know, okay, listen, let's find the slot so they don't book you, you know, like at 9 p.m. or when you have another gig or
Yes, of
meeting.
course. Yeah,
So to
exactly.
sort of facilitate, because like even when we did the virtual weddings fair, I had a particular bride to be. She did 14 meetings in 2 days.
Wow. You see?
And yeah, exactly. And when I spoke to her, she told me it was absolutely amazing. I sat down with my laptop. Every hour I had a meeting with a different supplier. And she told
Mhm.
me I wanted to speak with 3 different people for each different category. So I can get examples, ideas. I mean, I've never done this before. She told me, like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, you know?
Exactly. So yes, that saves so much time, like you're saying. I mean, you can't. I mean, it's high. It's almost impossible to have 14 meetings in a day
Yeah.
in
And
remote.
you're never really going to know who the artist or who the particular person you are speaking to is better than having an online meeting or a face-to-face meeting. Over email, you have no idea who a person is. Even a phone call is better than an email or a chat.
Definitely. Yes, 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 definitely.
Amazing. I don't know if you have any final words for the show today, Eureka.
Just I would like to thank you, Alberta, for all the questions, and thank you, Get Hitched,
Cool.
uh, for today.
Thank you very much. I'm going to say thank you to the team for preparing everything for us today, even the agenda. Like without the team, like at Getish, we wouldn't be here. But without our suppliers like you, Yorika, thank you very much. We wouldn't be here either. I hope we are giving value to everyone that is watching the show. Just at least giving an understanding, be it if you're anxious, you're planning, you're postponing, or whatever. I hope that we're giving you some information that is valuable for you to use for planning your event or your wedding.
Yeah.
um, I am going to wave you goodbye, Yorika. It's been great to speak with you today, so
Yes,
thank you very
me
much.
too. Me
Yeah.
too. Bye bye.
There you have it, guys. Episode 19 with Yorika Attard, a singer, songwriter, pianist, and vocal teacher. I think she's definitely a person that you guys should contact, be it if you find her through Get Hitched. You can find her online with her Get Hitched profile as well on her Facebook page. She actually has a really nice Facebook page. I had to see it having a look today. We will post the link that we mentioned of the first cover that she released, so you guys can have a look at it, especially if you're interested in looking to booking her services. As usual, thank you very much for watching the show. If you guys need any help, have any questions, we are all here to help on Get Hitched and the supplier. So don't hesitate if you're stuck with something you're looking to doing your wedding next month, next year, or postponing or whatever. I hope to see you guys next time. Bye for now.